Hey guys, so I was just on YouTube watching videos and then I find this channel. It's called My Story Animated. And I was like, cool, let me click on the channel to see what stories they animated. But when I read the title of some of these videos, I was so confused. I mean, look at some of these names. I hid in the basement for weeks after I Googled myself. My name destroyed my life. Is that even how you spell destroyed? I'm turning into a fish? What the Yeah, these are all pretty weird names. But we're going to be checking out a video called I Have 10 Moms. Apparently that's possible. Apparently you can have 10 moms. I think you could have one biological mother and then 9 stepmothers. That is just weird. Or maybe you got adopted over and over and over again because no one wanted you? Well, that's just sad. Well, let's check this video out.
3 months ago, I was home alone when someone rang the bell of my house. My parents were not at home, and I haven't invited anyone else.
Hold up. Before I even say anything about the video, what TV show are you watching? Like, is it called How to Torture Someone?
It was 10 p.m., so it was dark and quite creepy. Yet, I was extremely curious to see who came to visit me late that night.
Okay, this reminds me of a horror movie. Why would you open the door like you're home alone and some random dude just appears in your door and you're like, I wonder who it is. Just don't open the door. Like, if this was a horror movie, that's probably what you would do. And you won't be heard from again.
Finally, I decided to check who it was. I opened the door and saw a young and especially handsome man. I was stunned. I truly believed that this was the mysterious prince that I have been waiting for all my life. I wasn't able to say a word. I was overwhelmed by his tall figure and deep blue-eyed look, so we both were just looking at each other.
You know, just some random dude and you open the door, but the first thing you do is look at how attractive he is.
My mysterious prince introduced himself. However, he came with the lamest excuse on the planet. He said, "Sorry to bother you, but my tire blew out. Are you alone, or is there anyone that may help me?" Reality hit me, and I suddenly became aware that he can rob me, kidnap me, or even do something worse.
I don't want to find out what else he can do to you.
And I am sure that he noticed the change in my attitude. I was as pale as a cloth. To calm me, he took a step back on the porch and decided to spill the truth. He said, "I'm not going to hurt you, but I need you to listen to me." I was about to slam the door in his face, but something kept me waiting.
Bro, I actually had hope that you would shut the door. What can you possibly be waiting for? Him to knock you out?
So I decided to hear what he had to say. He began the story by explaining that he was looking for me for months. However, he didn't want to scare me, so he came by as a random stranger at my door. I almost fainted when I heard this. Was he a maniac? A psychopath who has followed me for a long time? No, he was my long-lost brother.
What did you just say?
He was my long-lost brother.
Can you repeat that again?
Long-lost brother.
Long-lost brother.
What a turn of events. I finally decided to invite my brother inside. We were talking for 2 hours, but he didn't want to share the story of how we were related, at least not until my parents came home.
Wait, so it's that easy to get into someone's house? Just tell them that you're their long-lost brother? Hold on, I need to start doing that. I'm joking. I'm freaking, what the?
I could notice the confusion on his face. He thought I knew I had a brother. That's why he wanted to wait for my parents, or should I say, our parents. My mom and my dad finally arrived at midnight. It was obvious that my parents didn't even know who he is. Their first assumption was that he was my boyfriend, and oh my gosh, here we go again. My protective father always felt the need to defend me against the male kind. He was about to fight my brother when he said, "Stop it. You know who I am. I am about to tell her." Long story short, we all managed to calm our frustration and sat on the couch. Suddenly, my mom started crying. I have never been more confused in my entire life. She said, "I hope that what we are about to tell you won't make you love or appreciate us less."
This story is gonna take a twist, I already know.
My mom was stuttering. Still, she wanted to be the one that reveals the whole story. She began by telling me about her pregnancy with me. She didn't even mention my long-lost brother. When I asked her why she is skipping that part, she answered, "You will understand." Apparently, there was an earthquake on the day when I was born. Can you guess how this justifies my newly discovered brother? Well, neither could I. My mother was struggling for days before I decided to come out. Obviously, I was indecisive even in the womb. It's a characteristic of mine that explains many actions I have taken in my life. Anyway, I was born in June. On this particular day, 16 other babies were born in the same hospital. It's not many, but as I said, it's a small town. And I should be lucky that there weren't more babies at the moment. During the conversation, my mom told me, as you already know, all babies look alike.
As I said before, this is gonna take a dark twist.
They switched me with another baby in the hospital? And does this explain my long-lost brother? Well, I wish it did. But the reality was far worse. When my mother gave birth to me, she held me in her hands. Like any other mother, she wanted to smell me, to hug me and hold me tight. My father was right beside her during the whole journey. They were thrilled that they had a daughter. They have always listened to me, dedicated their time and full attention to my concerns. And my mom and dad love me unconditionally, and they always will. My mother had to give me to the medical nurses. Then I was placed together with the other babies.
Huh, interesting. You can't do that anymore. Because of
Coronavirus! Coronavirus!
But as I mentioned before, there was an earthquake at the hospital. The important fact is that everyone survived this disaster. There were no victims in the accident. Well, except the sacrifice of the truth. I and the rest of the 16 babies were tangled together and transferred to a safe place. The issue is that the hospital didn't keep good track of our identities.
Yep, I knew it. I knew something was gonna go wrong.
For years, the parents weren't aware of this issue. All that time, they believed that the hospital gave them their baby. More specifically, there were 10 female and 7 male newborn babies. After a few years, the truth came out. But it was already too late. The parents have developed strong relationships with their children. My parents didn't want to put me through such a stressful situation from a young age. After all, they loved me as I am their own blood, even if I was not. As shocking as it sounds, I was then made aware that I have 10 mothers.
You still have one mother. It's just you have to find the correct one out of the 10 mothers.
Both my mom and my dad burst into tears. My mother started cursing my new brother. She started yelling and asking why he came. She was 100% convinced that I will blame them or even leave them as complete strangers. But she was wrong. I know that I can only have one mother and one father. But who are they? Are they the people I have been living with my whole life?
Wait, that means if you know, I just got clickbaited? What?
I cannot imagine what my mom and dad were feeling at that moment. Maybe they thought that I would leave them for my real parents. Now, back to the story of my long-lost brother. His adventure began when he met a girl at the same age as his sister, or the girl he was living with. At this stage, we're unaware of who is related and who is not. When he met the girl, he instantly felt a connection. They started talking and bonding. After a while, he discovered that she was born on the same date and in the same hospital as his sister. It was simply too big of a coincidence. It was at that particular moment when my brother promised to spread the truth to all 17 babies. He didn't want to participate in this huge manipulation. So instead of keeping us in the dark, he was dedicated to uniting us all. It wasn't easy taking the test. Both I and my parents went through a tough period, and you will not believe what I've discovered. My whole life was a lie.
To be honest with you, I kind of saw this coming.
I instantly called a brother that visited me. He had the contacts of most babies born in the local hospital on the same day. He didn't manage to find all female babies. One of them was nowhere to be found. As lucky as I am, it was probably the baby I had been switched with. So, what was I supposed to do now? My parents were supportive of my actions. They wanted to meet their child as well. I was searching for a long time. I went to the hospital. I went through all town records and social networks. I did everything in my power to find my family. Finally, I got a call from the local police. And yes, I have involved them in my case as well. Ultimately, they have found my family. So we decided to go to the police together. We were both ready to face the truth. But when we got to the police, we heard the most heartbreaking event of a lifetime. Both my biological mother and the girl I had been switched with were in an accident 3 years ago.
Oh my gosh. To be honest, I thought this would be much more weirder, but it actually got pretty interesting. And yeah, that's basically how it ended. If you want to see the original video, it's in the link in the description below. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.